voice.
From the moment she opened her mouth at 5 years old and sung "Oh Lord, You Brought Me a Long Way" to Broadway and to her first film, Red Heat, Jenifer Lewis has been a powerhouse for decades, being a part of over 300 film and TV productions to becoming an author. Her biggest feat is the fact that she is a great activist. I am so excited in the Jenleeion circle today that we're sitting down with the mother of Black Hollywood. This is a dream come true for me as a journalist, as I've dreamt of interviewing her for 7 years. And here you sit next to Mario Bonds. And I want to say, first of all, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mario Bonds. I love you.
I love you more.
He came to the African American Museum when I met your beautiful, beautiful face, and I took his stick and I made it a microphone.
Listen,
we're good friends now.
I normally hate when people touch my face, but Jenifer Lewis can do that at any time.
I saw it. You know what? You know what I hate when people do? I hate when they rub my back in a circle like that. I'd be like, oh my God, would you just not?
I appreciate it. So one of the things that I want to start off talking about with you is I want to go all the way back to the beginning. I teased the fact that you opened your mouth and spoke at 5 years old, but the fabulous that is you, right? Give us the story of what's the road to fabulous Jenifer Lewis.
Well, I'll tell you the road to a Jenifer Lewis that cares about other people more than she does herself. And that is the journey. Now, I didn't say I didn't love myself. You know, I'm going to be good to me. But there's a big part about me that really cares about the next generation. I just accepted the John F. Kennedy Award from the Los Angeles Democratic Party. And I'm going to be honest and tell you that when I was a little girl, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. John F. Kennedy said that, and he gave me courage. When I was a little girl, every black woman in America had 3 pictures on her wall: Jesus Christ, Martin Luther King, and John F. Kennedy. So to have been honored with an award in his name gave me, I was very moved, just let me say that. So you want to know my story, Morning Glory?
First of all, I got to tell you something. The name of the disease that caused my blindness is Morning Glory Syndrome. So yeah, give it to me, Morning Glory.
Come on, Morning Glory. I love Morning Glory flowers too.
Actually, it's named after the Morning Glory flower because the optic nerve looks like the Morning Glory flower.
I bet you better teach me today, baby.
But go ahead, yes, please give it to
Okay,
us.
so here it is. Wow. I was born and raised in a small town called Kinloch, Missouri. I'm the youngest of 7. You know, the baby of the family always needs attention. I've never been like that. You gonna laugh now or later?
I'm waiting for the F-bomb to drop.
Well, Mario, you know, even in high school, I was captain of the cheerleading squad and president of my class. I won by 1 vote senior year. Boy, did I cuss my class out. I was like, I won by 1 vote.
What did you say to them? We're listening.
Oh, a couple of F-bombs. You know me, I never cuss out loud. Just wait for the interview to keep going.
Touche.
Anyway, I went on to college, studied theater. I got my BA in theater arts. From there, I went to New York City and got my first Broadway show within 11 days. Proud of that.
Wow.
I had no fear in me, Mario. I had no fear in me. You couldn't stop me when I was that young. This gift that was given to me at birth. And I've simply tried to honor it. People have tried to snuff it out. I should say today, you know it's impossible, right? Hello. Anyway, I grew beyond that. Thank God I stopped caring about what people think about me.
And in terms of people trying to snuff it out, that takes me to an interesting point, because in your book, The Mother of Black Hollywood, you wrote about a time where a pastor robbed you of God, your mother, and your career, but you found the boldness to get back to being Jenifer.
Absolutely.
How did you do that?
Well, the pastor of my church molested me when I believe I was 13. And because my mother was in love with him, she was just unable to face that piece back in those days. I want to pause and say to everyone out there, if someone has touched you inappropriately, if someone's looked at you inappropriately, you tell somebody. I told. My mother was incapable of dealing with that issue, once again, back in those days. But I told somebody else. And then I told somebody else. Tell somebody. So yes, I did come through that. What happens is when you're young, you push it down. A lot of people are unable to speak to the traumas of their lives. Therefore, they eat. They eat and they eat and they take drugs and they take drugs, and then life sort of spirals away from you. I say to you today, don't do it. Apply yourself. Go and ask for help.
The reason why that resonated with me, because I first had my bout with molestation when I was 4 years old, at the time where you don't have a sense of identity, right? And it could have been the destruction, right? So what resonated with me is the fact that, again, I talked about your boldness earlier, right? That you were bold, you were proud, and you were confident, and you carried that all the way into college, and you carried it into Broadway. That's fascinating. That's fascinating to me. So in your life, who was your support? Who was the foundation that you thought you were fabulous, but who was the foundation as you were coming up who said, Jenny, you are fabulous?
My teachers in elementary school, my professors in college. And when my mother was not available, I went and found some more mamas. I had a sweet little Jewish woman in New York named B. Henley, a can-can dancer from Switzerland when I was 19 years old, who taught me how to do that high kick, y'all. That's where the high kick comes from. Read The Mother of Black Hollywood. All my secrets are in there. Elaine Swain, who was a friend of Billie Holiday's. She was an alcoholic, and I would go check on her in New York. Wow. I searched for mothers, and I found them. And I want to say this out loud. Never expect all things from one person. That's why there's an S at the end of the word friend. You need friends.
Wow.
To spread it out a little bit, so you're not dumping on someone every day. We all have got our problems. Make a family for yourself and choose, pick and choose. What is that expression? Choose your battles. Navigate. You want to know, people ask me, Miss Lewis, why is your second book titled Walking in My Joy? A young journalist asked me that the other day. She said, how do you do that? How do you find your joy? Well, what makes you smile? What makes you laugh? Go for it. If it's medicine, then be a doctor. Do the work, and don't think it's going to come easy. It doesn't. It just doesn't. Nobody promised you a rose garden. There are thorns.
Absolutely.
That have to be navigated. So don't think life is going to be easy. That's a lot of our problems. We want what we want when we want it. We didn't grow up. Well, life ain't like that.
Absolutely.
It just isn't. Focus on what makes you happy, and therein lies your joy. Do the work.
And in that phrase, doing the work, it's a famous phrase. At 33 years old, Jenifer was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And she says that for 5 years, her therapist tried to persuade her to take medication. And at some point, you did take medication and it changed your life. And on that subject, you said in the past that you wanted the laughter that you put on other people's faces, right? And that's the reason why you did the work. Explain what that work is in the context of bipolar disorder.
Well, the work is getting up in the morning and being in charge of your day as much as you can be. We all know that Murphy's Law, if something can go wrong, it will, but you don't have to believe in that. Nothing really has to go wrong. Can you meet the day? Have you aligned yourself in things that make you happy? When you get in your car, are you flipping somebody off, or are you saying, go right ahead? Where are you? Pay attention. The whole world is mourning now. You don't know how many people somebody lost in COVID-19. That person that's driving and you're flipping them off, they just lost their mother. And you're telling them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
Oh, that works. It doesn't work. Align yourself before you leave your home. You tell yourself what you're going to do today. I'm going to go shopping. Well, smile when you go into the shop. Say hello. Don't be looking for them to look for you stealing something. See, people used to ask me about this, about that, and the other. And I would tell them, I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for something today that's going to make me happy. And when you say good morning to people, mean it.
According to the National Institute on Mental Health, 2.8% of Americans are living with bipolar disorder. And the World Health Organization says that it's the 6th most common disability in the world. In the Black community, there's a huge stigma around mental health. What does Mama Lewis have to say about that?
I will say that when I toured the States in my first one-woman show with the Mother Black Hollywood, I was able to feel the temperature and the temperament of the country in the Trump era. And what I found is we're getting better. They're starting to bring counselors into churches. They're starting to bring counselors into community centers. I went out to Flint, Michigan, where they poisoned the water and didn't care if they poisoned our people. I saw that dirty water with my own eyes. And I told the people of Flint I didn't know what I would do, but I knew I'd do something. And I wrote a song called Flint Ain't Fixed. Governor Snyder, I hear, was actually subpoenaed to talk about this horrible decision they made to let that dirty water into the drinking water in Flint. Horrible tragedy.
Horrible thing to do.
The kids have lead in their bodies now and people are getting sick. I went down and I talked to the Parkland kids. The black kids at Parkland were feeling ignored. And I went down there, and Frederica Wilson, Congresswoman Frederica Wilson, opened the Urban League for me to be able to talk to them, because the day I was going to go to Parkland High School, there was a bomb threat. So I spoke with the African American students, and one of them got up and said, well, Miss Lewis, when George Clooney came, we didn't go to dinner with him. And I said, well, Jenifer Lewis is here. Get your backpacks. We're going to McDonald's.
Yes. Make it easy for everybody.
But the point I'm making is that when I was on tour, I got to speak directly to the people. At every book signing, I went from the Blue Ridge Mountains to the Pacific Ocean. I went from Chicago to Texas, all over the country. And I have to say that we are all getting better. with dealing with mental illness. People are starting to wake up.
Excellent.
And I was very proud of that. The Deltas brought me into Minneapolis, and it was an amazing time to see how much we were fighting for our sanity during the Trump era. And so many people were suffering because of the constant hate that was being preached.
And was it tough for you? Because during that era, it seemed like a reemergence of the evils that I read about in school in the 90s, right? That you thought were on the pages of history in the 60s and the 70s. For you as a person that lived through those eras, was the reemergence of all that, or do you think it never died? The sort of hatred that was around us.
You know, of course, Trump unleashed the hate. It was always there. It's the blood of the Native Americans soaked in the soil of the United States. It's the blood of African Americans that came here against their will. And what Trump did was he sort of burst a pimple where all of that guilt and hate and privilege was boiling up. He unleashed it. It had to be unleashed. It had to be seen.
Because if there's a wasp in the room, I definitely would like to know where it is, right?
Absolutely.
And before we switch gears, I have one more question around mental health, because it's a personal story to me. I've adopted 4 children, 3 of whom have different, I call them mental disadvantages, 2 particularly bipolar disorder, right? And a lot of times we fight over medication, right? You personally went through that fight for 5 years after being diagnosed.
Listen, everybody. If you need treatment, get it. Somebody will help you. Don't spend your life in those dark rooms thinking that, oh, maybe somebody's going to come and rescue me one day. They're not. They're not, because they can't. The only thing one person can do for another person, really, is to live your best life and let them see your own light. Nobody's coming to rescue you, darling. They're just not. And there's no recipe. But there is treatment, therapy, and medication if you need it. And by the way, you don't get to take that medication for a month and then you think you're all right. No, you're not.
Very important point.
No, you're not all right. I've done that 3-4 times in my life. And let me tell you, it's bad news. You cannot play around with medication.
In fact, you have a story about a time when you were in Rome and you were 4 days off your medication, and what that experience was like.
Oh my God. The Pope, yes, the Pope died when I was in Rome. And I couldn't get back to the United States, and I had run out of medication. So I was off my medication for 4 days. And the manic episode I had was, well, it was unimaginable. I went out and bought a big old house, just went on a manic high. I was all over just buying things and rushing places and raging. You get in a lot of trouble when you start raging out there. And there's a lot of rage going on right now as the country is dividing. These are awakening times, y'all. Everybody's got to wake up. We just went through a pandemic. If you didn't look in the mirror during that time, then when are you planning to look inside of yourself and get the job done? From mental illness to any disease.
That even has parallels to people chasing their dreams. At age 57, Jenifer Lewis was thinking about leaving show business. This was after 259 episodes on TV shows, 63 movies, and 4 Broadway shows. She was thinking about walking away from it. But luckily, coming back from a trip, you found that the gods had more for you to do. And that's an interesting story because you were sick of going to auditions and hearing, "Thank you, Jenifer." But you come back to the States after a trip and an interesting story happens. Take us there.
Well, let's say this. There's no way I can leave show business. I am show business. Like I said, I had a gifted birth, and I have tried to honor it all my life. But guys, I ain't going nowhere. I breathe and live it. I've been making people laugh since I was a kid, doing the funky chicken for my mother and her friends, you know, in my pajamas, to singing in church, to performing on Broadway with no fear, to coming out to Hollywood, finding out that I was mentally ill, having the courage and the strength to not kick and scream, although I did, but I went and I took care of myself.
And not many artists can say that they got a job without a single audition. And that's what the fabulous of Jenifer Lewis got you in terms of Blackish. Obviously, Blackish, the last episode for the last season aired on April 19th. But you got that job without a single audition, right?
No, you know, I gotta tell you, I haven't auditioned for years. I wish somebody would ask me to audition. You got the movie, how much y'all got? I'll audition. People always ask me, why do you play everybody's mama?
I wish you would play mine.
Hey, I am your mama, baby.
Yeah.
I tell them for that kind of money, I'll play the daddy. Hey, try please, ain't no shame in my game. People say, I say, yeah, I did it. I did it. The message I want to say is if you need help, go and get it.
Go get it.
If you need to take medication, take it. If you want to be happy, then find out what makes you happy and focus on that and go for it. There are no excuses. I don't want to hear excuses.
What makes you happy?
What makes me happy? I garden, I travel, I cycle, I love riding my bike. I love life now. I've seen it all, y'all. So now all I want to do is give back to the next generations. I don't need standing ovations anymore. Okay, maybe 1 or 2. But I just want to give back now. I'm an activist now. Show business is like brushing my teeth, you know. It comes natural to me. A song comes natural to me. I wrote a song accepting my John F. Kennedy Award from the Los Angeles Democratic Party. It's what I do. I want to give back now. I got everything I wanted.
Including an honorary doctorate degree from Webster University in 2015 for your activism.
Oh my God, that was so exciting.
Never would have imagined being here with you today. But like it says in The Lion King, such is the circle of life. God bless you. Enjoy your journey.
That was so exciting to get an honorary doctorate. Now when I'm on a plane, I can say, is there a doctor in the house? Yes, darling. What's the problem? Oh no.
Well, hold it. Are you any good at CPR?
Well, hold on. Yeah, well, I can do this heart surgery. Somebody pass me a knife.
What about your CPR?
Oh, CPR, I ain't kissing nobody. Honey, you got to die. Sorry. Is there another doctor in the house?
Oh, so you're not kissing nobody? So if I fell out on the floor right now and started shaking, you would just look?
You would be, you'd almost say, you would be, you know I'd get you, pumpkin. You know, and mama gonna touch your face again.
Yeah, you're allowed to.
Yes.
You're allowed to.
Because it's a beautiful face. You ever seen so much joy?
I
You
appreciate
should have seen
that.
him at the African American Museum. He was lit up. He got a picture with Jenifer Lewis.
Absolutely.
Now you got me.
So I have to talk about, going to talk about some of my favorites, and then I want you to tell me your favorite of your career, right?
Okay.
You said you've been making people laugh forever. Yes, you have, even from your serious lines. All the time when my family, when someone asks us, do we want to do something, or we always say, yeah, I want to drink, but I want to stay here and listen to this rehearsal. Got her in there screaming like a man.
All right, I'm going to give you the line. You tell me the movie.
Go ahead.
These pearls are tight around my neck.
Maybe it's all them chitlins you ate.
Okay, this is a good one.
I've got one for you. I've got one. So, level with me, Jackie. Level with me. What alienated your daughter Shakti's from you?
I don't even know the next line. Entendre! Make it a... Entendre! Wait, let me get it.
Those are lines from Jackie's Back movie on Lifetime, which is obviously a classic.
Let's see. She says, entendre, make it a double. Get mama's medication, a little gin, and make it a double entendre. No, okay. So that's Jackie's Back. The other one was What's Love Got to Do with It, the Tina Turner movie.
Yes.
What about this movie? I gave you that behind. Whitney Houston, Preacher's Wife.
Yes.
Okay, she got the cigarette in her hand.
Wife. Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So here's another one. Let's do this. What about this one? Are you ready for the tour, Miss Loretta? Y'all ain't done y'all one. Think Like a Man.
Think Like a Man.
I forgot what I said to Kevin Hart. Something implying that he had a small penis.
That was the first movie, the first one. Yeah. What about this? You got spies in my house?
Dirty Laundry. Huh? Wait a minute. What is it? Stand down, June. He ain't even here.
Stand down, June. He ain't even here. Now, you have a story about a scene in there where you felt like Loretta Devine actually stole the scene from you when you guys were able to ad-lib.
Oh my God! Now you know Loretta Devine and I have known each other since we were 19. She just texted me this morning. She just saw my new show on Showtime called "I Love That for You," and Loretta was eating some bacon that morning. I said, Loretta, give me some of that bacon. She said, now, Jen, go get your own. You know, she talks like that. Loretta come after me, you know. Don't let her see this. Don't let her. And she wouldn't give me no bacon. So I jokingly said, well, you just keep eating it then, fat ass. Well, Loretta, being a dear friend, tends to ignore me mostly. So she stole the scene from me. She said, no, Jen, go on say it in the scene. Go on call me fat, Jen. Go on, Jen. So I did. She played my drunk sister in this movie, Dirty Laundry.
Yes.
And so she was all drunk. And so my character said, after she was talking some kind of shit in the scene, my character said, look at her with her fat ass. I laid on that F too. And Loretta didn't even say nothing. But then they turned the camera around and Loretta stole the scene from me by saying, you call me fat again, I'm gonna go upside your hat wearing head with a biscuit.
Yes.
Oh my God.
As a matter of fact, let's take a look at that scene.
Look at her always trying to tell somebody what to do with her fat ass.
You call me fat again, and I'm gonna go upside your big hat wearing head with a biscuit.
She stole the scene. Loretta, I'm coming for you.
Fantastic scene. So, out of all the work that you've done, like we've talked about, an electrifying ovation that you've got at Carnegie Hall in 2014, all of the film and television work that you have done. Yes, you're an activist now, but on the Hollywood side, what's your favorite thing that you've done so far? What makes you say, Jenny, I'm glad I did that?
Wow, so much right now in my life. I think I'm just starting to recognize that after suffering with bipolar disorder untreated for so many years of my life, the fact that I'm still here and able to share my story with the world and say to them, yes, you can. Yes, you can. If you remember, that was Obama's motto during his campaign. Yes, we can. But to put a little bit on that for you, when Blackish was into the African American Museum of History and Culture, my body was so electrified to be there in that permanent history with Frederick, Sojourner, Harriet, all of the slaves from the Middle Passage, in an instrument where they used rusty instruments on African American women without anesthesia. The Williams sisters, Dr. King. To be in a museum with the likes of them caused me to vibrate at a frequency I've never felt before. So I have to say that my greatest accomplishment was at that museum.
Wow.
And the other thing is being in the Library of Congress twice now, because I've written my second book called Walking in My Joy. And people ask me, why did you title your book Walking in My Joy? It's kind of what I do. You know, after all that work, I'm content. Nobody's perfect, but I'm content.
And you're satisfied.
Yes, and it's nice. It's nice to be okay and know that the only weapon we have in all the madness that's going on in the world now is know thyself.
Absolutely.
What are you gonna do?
Jenifer Lewis joined the Big Sisters program and ended up adopting a child that was a part of that program at 12 years old. Your daughter, Charmaine. That's your pride and joy.
Absolutely. When I was 42, I think I was 42, I joined the Big Sister, Big Brother program, and it was very rewarding. And I say to you, go get a kid and mentor them. Go. Even Mario has adopted children. You go and get somebody to help. It'll help you help yourself. So reach out. If you've got that cousin at the family reunion with his pants down, dancing at the table, don't just look up from playing spades and go, oh, he's crazy. Maybe he needs help. So reach out. That uncle that's in the basement that never comes out but to eat, go get him. See if he wants help. But reach out, do your part. Don't try to save nobody. Read my lips. Do not try to save another human being. You can't.
And I've made that mistake several times.
You, child, please, you can imagine my generous ass.
Yes.
I ain't generous no more. Don't ask me for no money. I wish you would ask me for money.
I won't.
Jesus Christ. I always use Dave Chappelle's line, I'm rich, bitch! And then I come right in and say, don't ask me for no fucking money.
Okay.
Don't ask for a goddamn dime.
Last topic, and then we'll close. One of your favorite statements from Nelson Mandela is what?
What right
Yes.
do we have not to be great? Sorry, guys. We're all the same. We all bleed. But the other thing that we have in common, every human being, you have a choice. We get to choose. Isn't that exciting?
Yes.
We get to choose. And you sit there and go, choose what? You're gonna live life or you're gonna fight life? We are humans being. What are you being? An asshole? or somebody that makes a difference. Somebody that's going to get up and get the job done. Somebody's going to get up and help somebody else. You don't know what to do? Go help somebody else. Something is, well, I wouldn't help an old woman across the street because she'll kick your ass. But there was a time. There was a time we'd help a whole lady across the street.
Well, you're not that old lady that needs to get across the street.
And don't come try to help me.
I'll give you my
I think
arm.
I'm 35.
Look, I'll give you my arm and I'll use my cane. I'll take you across the street.
Guys, go do something for somebody else. And I want to say this. You're my favorite now.
Thank you.
I'm honored to give Mario this interview, and all of you that have created this beautiful magazine to inspire and to uplift. I'm proud of you, young African Americans making a difference. It makes us proud. You hear me?
Mario,
Yes.
come on now.
That means a lot. That means a lot to me. Jennifer's book, Walking in My Joy, will be released in the fall of this year. Please make sure you get it. It is as good of a read as her first book, Mother of Black Hollywood, was. Also, please check out the May cover of Jenleeion, where Jenifer Lewis was gracious enough and kind enough to grace our cover. Again, this was an interview that was a dream come true. I'm really excited, and hopefully, you said in front of people that you are my new mother. I'm gonna
That's
see if
right.
you can hold on to
I'm
that.
the mother of Black Hollywood.
And before we close, I want to harmonize with you, and I don't want
Oh,
nobody.
do that.
I don't
Do
want
that.
nobody.
Oh yeah, let's do it. All right, what key?
You choose. I don't know. You choose, and I'll choose a note up on it.
I don't want nobody fucking with me in these streets. I went up.
Yeah, you did.
Can we
So,
say
yeah,
fucking
hold it.
instead of messing?
Yeah.
People get on my nerve when
Yeah,
I
we
have
can
to
say-
say
we can
mess.
say it.
All right, so I'll go. Well, you tell me where you want to be.
Okay, I'll do it. I don't want nobody. You do.
Okay, go. I don't want nobody fucking with
Me in these streets.
I don't want nobody fucking with me in these streets. I don't want nobody fucking with me in these streets.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time
You
for
do
that.
it. Say ha ha ha. Ain't nobody got time for that shit. Shaka Khan.
God bless you. Thank you
Oh,
so
honey,
much.
funny. Oh, baby.
This is wonderful. You're not old. You look
I
as
done
fabulous.
fell in love with this boy, and now I got another child to take care of. God, if y'all
Absolutely.
start praying for me.